There we go. We are now live. Welcome, everybody. Can't believe it's actually Sunday again already. It's a bit mad. I saw some people in the chat saying the same thing. The weeks are absolutely flying by. We thought we'd get a few of us together. I think, Derek, it was your idea originally to chat about how the listing challenge helped or not. And then I thought we'd talk generally about where we're all at with our various backlogs and how it's all going. A bit of an update. Hopefully Andrew's going to join us once his laptop is playing ball. Not sure if Tom's joining us. Oh, speaking of the devil, here's Andrew. Hold on. There he is.
Good afternoon. Evening.
Good evening.
How are you, Andrew?
The laptop's working again, is it?
Yeah, just doesn't like switching between Zoom and StreamYard.
So I was just saying, we thought we'd get together and talk about how the listing challenge helped, and then talk generally about where we're all at with our various backlogs and strategies to deal with it or not, as the case may be. So Derek, I remember you were trying to list tellies and all big bulky stuff during the challenge. Did that help shift any of it?
I think pretty much most of the items I listed were the TVs, which was my main objective because I literally had all the TVs in my barn. They were all like scattered over the floor, direct from the boot sale, so they're all dirty and just sort of dumped in there untested. So and they were in the way because I want to get on sort of decking out the barn with shelving and stuff. So I wanted to get them all listed so I can put them away nicely. So I did that, and I've probably sold at least half of them. So I think I'm down, probably more actually. I think I'm down to about 13, something like that. I bought more since the challenge. So it's hard to think, but I think there's about 13 that I listed during the challenge that are still available. I guess I must have listed maybe 40, something like that. I guess.
Wow.
There was a lot of them. They're all piled up. I had them stacked up about 3 high because I ran out of shelving. Because I've only got like temporary shelving in the barn at the moment. So I ran out of proper shelving, so they were stacked up in the corner wall. I've done quite well. Although I'm very aware that it sort of artificially bumped my sales up because they're like £100 sales. And I've had quite a few of them, but overall it's been quite slow recently if it wasn't for that.
Yep.
So it's been good, but it's masking the fact that I haven't got any other decent stuff listed. So I've got to get back on it really and get lots more listed.
And Richard, thanks for joining us. I know you said Ali's not very well, so if you do need to nip off, that's absolutely fine. But how is your backlog looking? And did the challenge we all took part in help your sales much?
Yes, the challenge really helped with getting a lot of stuff listed. I've still got a massive backlog though. But yeah, sales are really good after the challenge. They've died off now a bit because I haven't really done a lot of listing lately.
Right.
But yeah, the challenge really helps. And yeah, it's just a matter of working through the backlog that I've got because I'm moving hopefully shortly, and I'd like to get a lot of stuff listed and sold before that.
I think last time we spoke, you just had another offer on the house. So is this one progressing?
Yes. I've accepted the offer. I think it was about 4 or 5 days after I spoke to you. I actually accepted it, and they're happy with the offer that they made, and it's progressing now, but it's still early stages. The solicitors are talking, and
well, so, we all know, and you painfully know that nothing's done until it's all over. But yeah, best of luck with that.
Thank you.
And then Andrew, I mean, you won the challenge apparently, Thanks to one listing in particular, and I'm keen to know if you sold any of those. What were those widgets you listed like 700 of?
I put some earbuds on, which I have sold some of, but not on eBay.
That's because you priced them way too high to win the challenge. That's what happened there.
I've sold them for the same price, but on Vinted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So unfortunately, Vinted doesn't have the ability for me to add 700 items at once on one listing. So I have to put one on and then wait for it to sell, and then put another one on. So it's a bit slow. But yeah, I've sold a few on Vinted. So and yeah, for similar money, about £1 less than what they're listed for on eBay. But of course, I'm not paying any fees or shipping costs as part of that. So yes, they have been a success, just not on the platform I bought them for.
Doesn't matter, right? Sale's a sale, wherever it comes in. I just realised we haven't really said hello to the chat. I'll quickly do that. I don't know that Tom's going to join us, but I'll keep an eye out down below. So a few quick hellos. If you are watching live, I can pop in the chat. If I see any questions, I can get onto them. We're just talking about backlogs, really. We all got together, must be a month or so ago now, and really pushed the listing. For me, it was amazing. We had our best weekend ever on eBay. We had a $2,500 Saturday just after the challenge. It was just mind blowing, but that was due to the stock really, as much as how much I listed, because the stock I had was just really good saleable stuff, and it was expensive. But to say it paid off was an understatement. Anyway, Treasure Trove, good evening. Yep, 9 days into March. It's madness. Elaine, good evening. Paul's with us. Helen. Yeah, exactly. Where did the week go? Feels like 2 days ago I was chatting to Al. Had Al on. That was a really interesting chat, actually. See Blaney, welcome. Tom's with us. Joe. Speaking of the devil, there he is. Look. Good evening. Tony and Jill, who we're going to catch up with soon. We're going up to their place. Can't wait for that. Will, shorts and t-shirt weather in the Midlands today. It wasn't quite that here. All right, I'm going to scroll down. Welcome everybody. I don't have Andrea with me to keep an eye on the chat, so I'll probably fail miserably. I can quickly answer this though. We went to see Alison Moye. Andrea bought me tickets, I think, for my birthday or something. And I've never seen her, and she was so good. Her voice is incredible. So yes, thank you. It was awesome. Right, welcome everybody. Let's get to the end of the chat. Let's read out that, because it's to do with backlogs. Market Man Mike says, I've just spent the day clearing out my garage so I can deal with my backlog. Back's gone on me now, so that's the reward for tackling it. Yeah, I can sympathise with putting your back out. Wow, there's so much chat.
There was a question from Big Vintage about how to tackle backlog.
This one?
Yes.
What order to tackle the backlog? Oldest? Oh, this is a good question. Oldest, biggest, most valuable. I usually end up doing the easiest. Has anyone got a strategy? The fact that we all have huge backlogs probably means we don't have much of a strategy.
I don't really have a strategy. Although I have noticed that a lot of the time I've got like a big item in the backlog. I don't know, let's just say I can think I've got a computer, an old vintage computer, so it's like a tower, 90s tower PC. And they're worth decent money, but they've got to be tested and stuff like that. So yeah, it sits in my office, and they've got to step over it and all of that for about 6 or 7 months until I actually get round to doing it. And then it sells within like a week or something. That's what I find when I list bigger items, that they go really, really quick. So yeah, it's nice to get rid of them. You know, once you're in the frame of mind to clear some of the backlog, it's good to get the bigger items out of the way, I find. But
stuff that needs Stuff that needs complicated testing is my downfall. I've got a security setup with cameras. It's a really decent one. I think it's got a terabyte hard drive and all that. It's worth a couple of £100. I've had it now probably 2 years, and I've moved it. It's been in the house, sat on the sofa, waiting for me to test it, and it's been back in the shed. It's been all over the place. I brought it out again now in order to properly test it and put it on, but just keep putting it off. Yeah. It's just effort.
I reckon straight after this stream, get it tested, get it on, job done.
Well, the downside of that is Andrea will be watching something on the telly, and I'll need the telly to get it hooked up and test it. See, there's my excuse straight away. What about yourself, Richard? Do you have any system, or do you just peck away at the backlog randomly? How do you deal with it?
To be honest, I very rarely ever get to the backlog. Right. It's usually new stuff that comes in. I source the stuff I've sourced that week is what I'm trying to get listed, and a lot of the time I don't even get to list all of that. But so going forward,
it just sits there gathering dust.
I get that problem in the summer. It's not so bad this time of year, but I just get too much that I can list until the next boot sale, and you're even worse because you've got weekday boot sales as well.
I went to one this morning.
Yeah.
I went to one this morning, and hopefully I'll be able to get all of that listed. But I did buy quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, Lacey makes a point that really came true when COVID hit. Always good to have a backlog due to unforeseen circumstances that come up.
Yes.
And that was the first time I had cleared my backlog since starting reselling, really, was COVID, because that was necessity, really. I still needed an income. And thankfully, I had a loft full of stuff. I had no idea what was up there. I was pulling down stuff that felt new to me because I hadn't seen it for years. And I plowed through the whole lot. And then that really paid off because we then sold the house and moved. So I'd kind of worked through the vast majority of the backlog due to COVID. Did it pay off for all of you when COVID hit, that you had stock?
Yeah, that's probably the closest I've come to clear my backlog. I never actually cleared it, but
I got through half the backlog that I had at the time, and it was brilliant because stuff was just flying off the shelves as well. You could list anything and it would sell, and it would sell for more than I ever thought it would. There was stuff that I thought I'm never going to list that because it's not worth anything, that all of a sudden was worth money.
Yeah, I remember puzzles went mad, didn't they? And Wii Fits and
any
video gaming.
I remember the Wii controllers, the really rubbish ones, like the tennis rackets and the baseball bats. I was throwing them away at one point, but flying out during COVID.
No, really?
Yeah.
I must have been so many. Every time I pick up a Wii or console and it has that goes, I'm afraid it goes straight in the bin.
Yeah, wow. That's what we used to do. And in COVID, I think you could do like the tennis racket, the baseball bat, and I think it was a golf club or something. Did like a little bundle of them. I can't remember how much it was, like 30 quid or whatever it was. It was crazy. And they're all like really cheap, sort of Poundland stuff, really.
Yeah, we had, when the Wii came out, which was, 2006, I think it was when we had a high street shop, and that was a huge launch for us. And those plastic Wii Sports sets were cheap as chips then. They were like $6.99 new or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they were in Poundland at one point.
Exactly that.
I seem to remember.
Thank you for the question, Lucy. Let's see what else there is.
I have now realised that more than half my warehouse is backlog, so I'm paying now to store backlog. So that's got to go this year, even if it means I've got to carve out a load of stuff.
Yeah, we did a car boot sale last weekend. Some personal stuff, but a lot of it was just, the stuff you end up with in bundles or bad purchases or whatever it was, and we cleared quite a lot of it. I was surprised at the stuff that was selling. You know what I mean? You take stuff and you think this will never sell, and then you put a box full of things that you think is your good stuff, and no one looks at it. It's really odd what people go for. So we're going to do another one again soon, just to clear some stock I don't want to deal with.
I know Richard does boot sales as well to clear stock, but I have problems with doing it because it means I can't look around the boot sale. Last time I went with a completely rammed full car load of stuff. Sold a fair bit of it, but it meant I couldn't look around because I had no space in the car to put the new stuff really. So and there's no opportunity to sort of dump the stuff that doesn't sell really. No one wants.
I'm quite happy with not buying more stuff.
Well, this is it. I went for one walk around at the end of the boot sale when we sold, and I bought one thing. I felt quite proud of myself, and that was it. One thing.
I don't think I can do that.
If I'm going there to get rid of stuff, the last thing I want to be doing is coming back with anything. So,
yeah.
Depends what it is, though. If it's something good, you're getting rid of rubbish, and then you get something good.
Yep.
That was my objective, is to clear the real rubbishy stuff, but I still want new stuff that's good. So I went on the basis that I'm better off just dumping it or charity shopping it, and then just going to the boot sale to buy and selling. So that's generally what I do now.
Yeah, it is a lot of time standing around in a field. If you haven't got much of any value, I do question if it's worth the time. I mean, I think we took about £100, and it was stuff that I would have happily given away, to be honest. So it kind of made we weren't there long. I think it was only 2 hours or so we were there. We turned up quite late, sold most of what we sold within the first hour. So it wasn't too bad, but yeah, it's a lot of faffing around for sure. So sometimes I do think, should I just donate what I don't want to charity? And we do a lot of that anyway.
Yeah.
Chris B is in. Hi, Chris. Thank you very much for your little parcel. I did appreciate it. I have a backlog of gaming stuff I've not touched in a few years, yet still buying more. Yeah. At least most of that is accumulating value, Chris.
That's the sort of idea I've got with my backlog. I don't think most of it, because I buy like vintage stuff and things like that, none of it's going down in value by sitting there. It's just appreciating. So yeah. Doesn't really, I know that I will sell it eventually, so not too worried about it as long as it's good stuff.
I want my backlog to go down to no more than a few weeks worth of listing at most.
I can understand it if you're paying for storage and stuff. That makes it different, because obviously it's costing you money to store it then.
Yeah, I don't mind if like most of it is listed and I'm paying to store stuff that's listed, but it's when it's not listed, it's just like, what's the point? It's costing more than it's worth.
Yeah.
Hi Ross, good to see you. I don't have a backlog. I need to up my sourcing game, definitely by using online methods and getting along to the auction recommended by Neil. My sourcing theory is I just need stock. My sourcing theory is solid. I just need stock. That's different to most of us.
I'm thinking about returning to the auctions again soon. I was speaking about it at the hitching meetup to a few people, and yeah, I do miss the auctions. But the only problem with that, you get so much sort of rubbish stuff included with what you actually need at the auction lot.
How much backlog have you got at the minute then? If you're considering exploring new sourcing opportunities, is that because you've not got much stock to list?
No, I've got loads of stuff to list, but I just like to get better stuff. The stuff that's in the death pile, probably, I would say about half of it is probably rubbish stuff, but there's some stuff in there as well.
So you're not going to be adding to the death pile by going to auctions?
No, well, possibly. Well, the idea would be to sort of only bid on certain things. I remember I went there before and I only bought lots with, like a hi-fi lot, and it had like 5 or 6 amps or something like that. And I list them. But if I buy like 5 household boxes, just to get a vintage kettle or something, for £2 the lot, then that's probably not good, because then I end up with the.
I guess though you could then put the surplus back into auction.
I tried that once, and the guy wasn't very happy. So
did you try that though by just like, I'll take this, can you put the rest back into the auction, or did you actually at least take it home and then sort it through and then bring it back as if it was a completely different lot?
Yeah, that's basically what I did. I took a load of stuff to the auction a couple of weeks later, just crates of random stuff. But he wasn't happy. But I don't know if that was just that auction. Maybe it'd be different at a different auction.
When I've sold at auction, we took some stuff and they looked at it and just said, they shouldn't accept stuff in and then not be happy about it. They should say, oh, I don't want that in the auction, because we were told that with some of the stuff we were trying to put in. You know what I mean? They took some and then they refused others. Big Al has said, urgent question, my YouTube editor is leaving. I haven't got his replacement. Need advice on what software you use for YouTube editing. So we can quickly say what we use. I use iMovie. I do pretty much all of it within the phone. Film on the phone, edit in the phone, upload from the phone, unless I'm using the GoPro. What do you guys use?
I use Wondershare Filmora on my laptop, but I probably should use iMovie because I've got an iPhone. I do all the filming on the iPhone, so I probably should start using that really. But yeah, I use Wondershare Filmora because I got a lifetime subscription to that years ago, and I understand how to use it. It's nice and simple. Not that I heavily edit. I have started doing some editing of late, but yeah.
I can't remember what I use. I can't remember what it's I can't remember. It's quite a good package though, I know that.
Is that a desktop package, and I take it?
Yeah, it's on the PC. It's probably had it for about 5 or 6 years. It's quite an old version of it, but it does the job.
I did have a ka-ching a minute ago while we were chatting, and it was an item I listed minutes before we went live, because Red Nose Day's coming up. Just sold him for 10 quid plus postage, just one. But I have loads of this sort of stuff. Piles of it and crates of it. Neil makes a very good point actually with sourcing. No matter what your backlog situation, I mean, it's a shame Tom didn't come on, because Tom is the ultimate in sourcing when he has a massive backlog. The FOMO, the fear of not getting stuff, and that desire or that need to purchase. I think we all feel it, when there's a boot sale on somewhere, you get that kind of itch. Why aren't I there? What am I missing out on?
I did that last week. I didn't go to the Sunday boot sale, but I woke up and I was awake and I was looking at the alarm and I was thinking, should I go? And then I didn't, and I was still awake when it would have been on and stuff, and I thought I should have just gone. Like, that happens a lot. So today I went, and it was probably worth going, but certainly didn't need to go.
Yeah.
I just get the joy of watching Car Boot Chris's videos at all my local boot sales that I've opted not to go to, and seeing what he's bought. So I don't really get to miss out as such. I just get to see what I get to see exactly what I could have got.
Yeah, I definitely suffer from FOMO if I don't go. Although it's not very often I don't go. Very rare. But if for some reason I do, then if it might be sort of like light rain or something where it'll still be on, but I don't go, I'll be thinking I should just go anyway.
I've had, funny you say that, sometimes when the weather's a bit dodgy and you still go and there's still sellers there, sometimes that's the best one to go to, because less buyers go. I've had some amazing finds at yard sales as well when the weather's a bit iffy. Go anyway, and there's hardly anyone buying, but people who can set up inside their garage or in a shed or whatever, they've still set up. Yeah, and you have free reign of all this stuff. It's awesome. Does Alan go with you, Richard, do you go sourcing together?
Yes, we went sourcing together today. We're in Bolton today. Went up to Bolton. And that was a big sale.
And are you looking for the same sort of stuff, or do you sell different stuff?
Anything really, anything that will make a profit.
Right. Sounds like me.
I bet you're not coming back with loads of ceramics though, and I bet Abby is.
I'm not, no.
Yeah.
No, we both source different things, but anything that more her stuff, she just has. I'll get the more, sort of man things, like electricals and things like that.
Daniel or Holt Sales says currently turned a £10 buy into 130, got another £90 waiting to list from the same purchase. Photo albums of photos of planes. I love that sort of thing. Wow. I've not had a good pickup like that for a long, long time, since those Second World War pictures. But yeah, so much money in that, because if it's unique stuff, I mean, postcards are good, but if you've got unique photographs, there can be some serious value in that. Peter, in COVID, I almost cleared my backlog, but then we were allowed back out. Yeah. And backlog crept up, and now it's quite big. Yeah. No feeling.
My backlog is much, much bigger now than it ever was in COVID. But it is smaller now than it was in December last year. I have started cracking through it.
Big Vintage, how long has anyone ever gone without sourcing or adding to the backlog? For me, it was probably that first lockdown, which wasn't that long, really, was it? I don't know how long that was. And even then, we were sourcing a little bit. I remember I got a lot of aggro because I went out sourcing and made a video because it was work related. So it was actually, I was allowed to go and pick up some stuff. And oh no, that's when somebody sent the police round to our house.
Yeah, I remember that video.
Yeah. And then I got quite a good video out of that. Yeah, but I don't know. Have any of you taken a break from sourcing at any point?
I have been on a self-imposed sourcing ban since 2019. It's not. You've
been sourcing since 2019. That's rubbish.
It's not a very successful ban, but I have banned myself from sourcing.
Okay.
I'm just not very good at it.
Right.
I usually take a break over Christmas.
Yeah.
And then back on it afterwards.
Yeah, we naturally don't pick up a lot in the winter months. We used to go out of our way to source in winter, but these days I'm much more relaxed about it, I'll be honest. So we do take a lot of winter off. About yourself, I mean, you were saying before that you go crazy in the summer months. So winter, you're not sourcing a lot?
Well, my boot sales, I've got an indoor one, which is one of those like multi-story car park type ones. So that's on all year round. I think it closes for like 2 weeks over Christmas, New Year. Apart from that, that's on. But I don't tend to pick up too much from that. So I suppose naturally, because of the weather and stuff like that, I will pick up less in the winter months, and that's when I sort of slow down the sourcing. And I do hit the backlog a little bit. But like this time of year, it's starting to all open and start again. And then as soon as the summer comes, I'll just be buying way much more than I can list in a week. So it'll just create more of a backlog. It'll just repeat again next year.
That's the natural cycle that my business just naturally evolved into, really. Build up in the summer. Don't worry about it. When it's there, just harvest all the good stuff and put it away. Don't worry about it. And then work through as much of it as you can in the winter. Yeah. And it tends to work out. Sometimes the backlog just gets too big to control. Chris was just saying there, Nick, you would have done better selling there today. It was absolutely rammed. We were going to go today, but we ended up just having a lie in and not doing much instead. But we probably should have done. Hi, Tara. Good to see you. We have 2 garages, a shed, and lots of personal stuff in the house. No idea how to start on it when the hubby is working and I'm not well enough. Yeah, that's tough. Has anyone got any tips for how to, if you're overwhelmed with a backlog, how to get going. The only thing I can suggest is taking a little batch at a time. Don't look at the whole of it. Don't think you're tackling the whole of it. Just take a box and work on one box. That's the only way I can chip away.
Set a target for how many items you want to list a day. Grab that many items from the backlog, list those. Next day, grab the same amount of items, don't buy any more, and your backlog will naturally reduce.
I'll tell you what I have done. I mean, I don't know if it would help, but I've took the stuff out the backlog, like piled them up in my hallway, sort of completely separate to where the backlog is, just randomly. So when I start work the following day, I've just got a list of items that I can just list, rather than seeing the backlog sort of thing. And then at the end of the day, I'll get out some more. I've done that before, and that seems to be quite successful, because I don't sort of see me listing stuff from the backlog. I'm just listing that pile of 10 items or whatever.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. But.
Yeah, I find picking stuff off the shelf, like 10 items, and then forcing yourself to list those items, I find that helps. Like you can't put them back on the shelf till they're listed.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do any of you plan on reducing your backlog or getting rid of it entirely?
Yes, in a word. Particularly, Andrea's backlog is becoming problematic. So we are working on that quite aggressively at the moment. Yeah, we want to streamline things, but we have said that many times before. But yeah, life is imposing a few things on us, and that will all become clear in time. But yes, is my quick answer to that.
I do, but I still have a big backlog just naturally, but I do want to start trying to clear some of it when I move. But be a bit more organised and get more listed. And hopefully with the extra space, I'll be able to do that. It won't be so, at the moment, my office is rammed with stuff. It's very hard to work in there.
Yeah, that's one thing I specifically want to sort out is my working area, getting a working area that's efficient. Because when it's chaotic in the shed and I can barely pack items because the table's covered in crap that I haven't dealt with, it's just so stressful. That's one part of it, that it's not necessarily a backlog issue, it's a tidiness issue. But when I don't have any shelf space spare because the backlog's filling it up, the knock-on effect is problematic. So that is definitely similar. I want to sort that out, sort my workspace out.
Yeah, I've got plans for that as well. When I move the office into the barn, is to have all these nice sort of, scissors hanging on a hook, and a roll of bubble wrap sort of on a hanger, reel that you can, whether it will actually, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's the dream, isn't it? Funnily enough, when I set up this, what is still a temporary thing in the shed, I literally put up hooks for scissors, and I never have scissors on them. I never know where the scissors are. Right?
This is my problem. I'm so untidy, and it's. I think it's in Andrew's tech group. They talk about reset to zero at the end of every day, and that's what I really need to do. But I'm just so disorganized. I just can't see that ever happening. But not long term anyway. I'll do it for a few days, and then I'll just run into bad habits again.
I do reset to zero, and it does help. I always leave the workspace as tidy as it was when I started the day. It's ready to start the next morning. Then it does make a big difference.
I'm usually rushing like a lunatic to get all the packing done, to get to the post office for last pickup. And then when that's done, I've usually got a bunch of other things I need to do, like family or home stuff. So I don't even go back in the shed. Then when I go back in the morning, it's just like a bomb's exploding. So I was rushing like a madman the day before.
But are you rushing like a madman because you've spent the morning tidying up the stuff, and so that's delayed you? So if you weren't doing that, you might have less rushing.
Yeah, No, I understand the theory, and I want to be that person. That's something I've been working on that most of my life. But time management and organization, my brain doesn't function that way. It's a problem, serious problem. King Shield says, thank you for streaming and providing useful tips. I would like to know if you noticed a down or uptrend in sales in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Well, for me, I had a huge uptick immediately during and after the listing challenge, and it's been going down ever since. We're actually doing quite well on sales, but compared to then, we're down. Was it similar for any of you?
I am 15% down at the minute because I haven't listed as much as I normally do because I've been repainting my bedroom. So,
is that 15% down on this time last year or last month?
On the last few weeks.
Right. That's not a big drop.
Mine's down since the meetup. I haven't really listed a lot. And yeah, my sales are down at the moment. But after the listing challenge, they're right up there. It's definitely down to your listing itself.
Yeah, I keep saying in videos, it really isn't rocket science. Well, it's not rocket science, is it? What we do, and it's so obvious, and it sounds daft when we say it, but yeah, when we work hard listing, funnily enough, we make a lot more money. Who knew? Also, for what I'm currently working on, if I went upstairs and picked out 5 of the valuable board games and listed them, that could be 500 quid. So I'm in a luxury kind of position at the moment to have that sort of stock. And the demand for it is there as well. So it's not only high value quality stuff, but it's in demand. So I have a real luxury to be able to go up and source from that haul. So that's helping. I've sold a couple. I sold a £250 order and a £150 order of board game bits. And it's going out on Monday. So that's helping my numbers. But we haven't sold a lot of volume. It's just some nice sales in there.
I think mine's been basically the same as that. I've sold these high ticket CRT TVs, and that the sales have been quite slow, really. So yeah, it's probably been down. The TV sales have artificially kept it reasonable. But the February and March are always bad months for me, traditionally, anyway.
Neil's here. Hello, Neil. He was, of course, at Hitchin. Only when on holiday I don't source, but I may have been known to bid blind on auctions while on holiday.
I've done that before as well. Online auctions and then gone to pick them up when I got back. Done that before.
There is so much opportunity out there to get stock that sometimes I feel the only barrier is cash. Is having the cash in the space for it all. But yeah, there's auctions. We've got boot sale season just starting off. I've been buying stuff off eBay recently to put back on eBay, just because I've been looking at comps on something. I've gone, oh, hang on a second, somebody's underpriced that. I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Yep. It's true. I mean, this ties into Tyler's question. Would you agree that sourcing is an addiction? There's an element of that. That goes back to the FOMO thing that Richard used. We all have this. There's an enjoyment of sourcing. There's the thrill of the hunt and all of that stuff. And then when you add in exactly what you said, Andrew, the fact that there's stuff everywhere. We could all go online now and buy stuff, Vinted, eBay, auctions, whatever it is. Yeah, I've never, since the day I started this, when I really discovered eBay, since that day, I've never had a problem finding stock.
No.
Not been the issue.
Getting it listed, that's the issue.
Exactly. I'm
hoping when Richard decides he's got more space and wants more stock, he's going to come to my warehouse and take all the stuff I don't want.
I noticed you've got some TVs in your store.
Some CRTs in there. I've got some VCRs. I've got some stereos, and I know I'm never going to list them.
But I'm never down that end. So it's, maybe if you've still got them at this Wales meet, maybe.
Oh, they're not going anywhere. They're never getting listed.
Tommy's in. Good to see you, Tommy. He says, I've tried to become more space conscious recently. I have been very limited on sourcing more as I need to get through what I already have. Yeah, space is a constraint. And if you have lots of space, we fill it up. A reseller will fill all available space. It's very true. I've not seen your video of your new space yet, Andrew. I need to check that out. How have you found the new space? Have you filled that yet, or what's it?
Yeah, not filled. So the videos were filmed in September and October, but I've been drip feeding them out in the last few weeks because I've been working so much on other stuff. But yeah, that is overwhelmingly full. So I am, and I filled my garage here. I've got a big log cabin that's full, and another outbuilding that's full as well. So that's why I'm like, right, I need to tackle this. This is too much now. Oh, and I've got my loft as well that's full.
I mean, you mentioned the word overwhelm there. Let's talk about that. I mean, is that a serious concern, and does it affect you mentally? Because I have had moments over the years of doing this where I've just almost had a meltdown and just wanted to set fire to the whole lot. You know what I mean? When it gets on top of you.
I was thinking today that I would just love somebody to come along and say, we'll take everything off your hands. Here's some cash and just start again. But I'm just doing what I always do, just grabbing a few items, listing those, and getting through it. And I didn't go sourcing this weekend, so that will certainly make a difference. Because normally, if I go out, I'm filling the car or the van, and yeah, just end up adding to it. So yeah, I'm just working through it. I have less backlog now than I did at the end of last year. So it's going, and stuff selling as well, which helps.
Yeah.
But yeah, that warehouse is full, and the landlord come round the other day, and he was like, "Do you want a bigger warehouse? We'll give you a bigger one for the same price." And I was like, "No, because that's just not going to help me resolve the issue." I said, "I just said thank you for the offer. It's a fantastic offer, but I'm sticking here. I'm not moving again because." I'll just, if I get more space, it'll just get filled, and it needs to go the opposite way. I need to empty the space. I don't mind filling it with listed stock because theoretically that can sell, but I don't want to put any more listed stock in it. So,
Richard, do you ever get overwhelmed by it, or do you become blind to it? Because I suffer from just not seeing it half the time.
Yeah, I do a little bit come blind to it.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say it's overwhelming as such, but I'm aware that I've got a lot of unlisted with moving as well. At some point, I'm going to have to move all that. And that, I think I was saying to Derek when he was down for the meetup about how many vans I'm going to need, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to chat to you after the move and see how you feel about the backlog at that point, because it was a big eye opener for us when we decided to move here. But as I said, COVID helped us out because our stock was right down. So you don't have that benefit right now.
No,
you cleared a lot of it.
I think my backlog's about the biggest it's been currently since I went full time.
I can probably vouch for that. It's definitely
the good thing is though, I've got a garage that I rent that I can just put stuff in there, so that is, I haven't got to move that when I actually move. I can move that later.
Right, you can come back and take it at your leisure.
Yeah, but I've got quite a bit of stuff in storage, like in my own house as well, in spare rooms and that.
We actually, when we moved here, we did a 2-stage thing. We filled a storage unit, and then we moved, and then we went back on a few trips with the Luton van because it just made sense to us. And we didn't use a firm to do it either because we had so much breakable stuff and complicated stuff and stuff I wanted to keep track of. We did everything ourselves, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you discover when you're moving this stuff. It's like, oh wow, I didn't even know I had this.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff I've forgotten about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I put it away about this time last year, thinking I was moving in a few months, and then it all fell through.
Yeah,
and I've forgotten what that stuff was. So it's all just crammed away in a corner.
And Derek, have you ever had moments of overwhelm with your stock?
Maybe a little bit, but probably not, which is a bad thing because then I just add to it and stuff. The only thing it's the untidiness of it, because my death pile, I literally have to walk through my death pile, or part of my death pile, to get to my office. Because in my house, I've got like a corridor that has shelving in it that leads to my office. It's like another hallway, and that's basically full of death pile stuff. And every time I go through there, I just I'm stepping over stuff to get there, but I just sort of live with it. So that gets me sort of a bit overwhelmed, I suppose. But other than that, I suppose not really. I'm just so used to it, I guess.
Yeah,
I've just lived like that for so long. As long as it's not in the sort of living area, of the house, which it was at one point, but that's all sorted. It's all through.
Like this.
So it's not so bad. The only thing I have now is because I pack in my living room. I generally put a film on and pack when I'm watching TV or whatever. And I've got my sort of packing supplies in a cupboard just over there. That's literally the only sort of stuff I've got in the house, in the living area of the house.
Tara posed a question. Can anyone advise us on selling matchboxes? Do you have to take the actual matches out? I'm assuming they can't be posted. I actually had a huge collection of matchboxes I bought at auction. I don't think there were any with matches in that I remember. But as for selling them, I would go through and pull out any that have real niche interest. Anything that's to do with military or stuff like that did well. I had some that were to do with ferries, like ferry lines. Whose dog's it? I was muted. But I ended up doing big bundles. They sold really well, but I just had to bulk it out really because most of it wasn't worth much. As for the question of sending matches, I don't know. Does anyone know if you can't send matches?
I've posted them before, but I don't know whether I should have done or not. But it was fine. But
yeah,
I'm not sure really. I'm guessing you probably shouldn't because they could catch fire, couldn't they? I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know the actual rules on it.
I'd just be posting it as is. I mean, if I ordered some matches on Amazon, they're going to come to me in a matchbox, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would ask whoever your courier is, Tara, if you want the actual answer, because we're not that sure. Right, I am miles and miles behind in the chat. We've only got about 10 minutes left. Let's see if I can find any questions that we've got. There's so much chat. Apologies if I've missed your comments or questions. Oh, where's the boss? Andrea is in the sitting room watching telly with Ellen. She thought she'd leave it to me tonight to chat. Let's have a look. There's a question somebody asked earlier. What are the fees for business sellers? I never remember exactly how it works these days, but it's easy to find within eBay. I think within the eBay help section, if you ask that question, it should come up.
I think it depends on the category and all of that as well.
It does?
The exact fees.
And it depends whether you are taking on a shop and what level of shop subscription. So it's not a simple, quick question to answer, even if we knew all the details. So I would, whoever asked the question, I would go onto eBay Help, and I'm sure somewhere within that it will explain.
Must be with fees and stuff. I've always gone on the basis that, you know, I think of like a figure where it's like, I don't know, 15% or something. I don't know what the exact figure would be, but then I basically just make sure there's enough profit, plenty of profit, so almost the fee is almost irrelevant, really. That's basically how I go on. You know, I don't have such small sort of margins on stuff.
I just work out in my head that eBay are going to take a third of whatever I sell an item for. It's usually less than that, but that way, at least, I always know I'm going to make money.
Yeah.
It works out roughly 15%, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So a third is a bit over the top, but if you're working on that and the numbers still work, that's
you get your promoted listings on top as well, and then
if you're promoting, yeah, you've got to factor that in. Yeah, as you can see by the answers, it's quite complex, really. So you need to look into it. Okay, there's so much chat. People were saying about their tactics for listing, and I've just whizzed past them. Where did they go? Tommy's saying taking a small amount and work through them, clean photo draft, do the specifics later. Maggie there saying, I take a box and list them. Don't put anything to one side, pick it up and list it. That's a good tip, actually. And I tend to do it in little batches and try not to select the items that you want to list. Or if you do, force yourself to list at least a couple of things you really don't mentally want to list. Right?
Yeah, I've done that before, yeah. If I'm picking out, I like to list at least 10 a day when I'm on the ball. And I'll try to pick out one or two sort of rubbish items just to sort of clear them. I'm doing shoes at the moment because my son's sort of, I've basically bought all my son's trainers that he bought for eBay to sell myself because he's lost interest in it. And there's all sorts of good shoes and bad shoes. So when I'm listing them, I'm always making sure I list like 3 really rubbish shoes with the good ones. Otherwise, I'll just end up with a load of rubbish ones, and I'll never actually get them listed. So, yeah, it's a bit of a tactic with that.
And also for me, I've said this before, but I think it's worth repeating that for me, starting is always my problem. And mentally, it feels way worse than it actually is. What we do isn't that difficult. So to get myself started, I will quite often pick something I'm keen to list. And then once I've kind of broken the seal, as it were, I'm off and running. So I sometimes have to just trick myself into starting, or tell myself I'm just going to do one. I'm just going to list one thing. I can list one thing. That's easy. And once I've done one, that's it. I realize, oh yeah, it's not difficult. I do this every day.
If you get some stuff listed really early on in the morning as well, I find that really boosts you to carry on throughout the day. If you leave it, you do your packaging sort of first, and you go to the post office, and then I sort of struggle. If I start at 1 o'clock, let's just say, but if I get up at 8 o'clock, list a couple of things before I go to the post office, then I come home, I've listed a couple of things, I'm still sort of in the zone of listing. So yeah, regularly.
I think my brain feeds on that dopamine hit of achieving something, no matter what it is. So sometimes just to get myself going, I'll give myself a simple physical task, like literally sweeping the backyard or something. And it's weird, but then I like wake up the brain because I've got that dopamine hit of doing something positive and constructive. Yeah. It works for me.
I had exactly the same issue when I was doing the barn work. Just get started and get going, and then I'm off and running then for the rest of the day. If I just sort of sit around thinking about doing it, I'll just never actually get around to doing it.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I was going to quickly say I can overthink myself out of doing anything. So if I get into a mental state about thinking about something, I just need to start doing it because I know I'll talk myself out of whatever it is.
I've stopped sourcing things I know that I won't list now. That you see, I see certain things at the boot sale, and then it might make money, but I know I'll never list it.
What sort of stuff? What sort of
just
stuff?
like something like one of Derek's TVs. I don't like listing that sort of stuff, and I don't like packaging it more. And I just know I'll buy it because there's money in it, but it'll just sit down the death pile.
Yeah, I've stopped buying VCRs because of that. And
Yeah.
I've not had a telly for ages, probably for the same reason, thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah. VCRs, testing them as well, I don't like.
Yeah.
Cleaning the heads, belts in cassette players, all that sort of thing.
My day tomorrow, I think. It's basically what I'll be doing tomorrow. Pulling boom boxes apart and putting new belts on. Because every time I buy a boom box, it's always guaranteed it will need new belts.
Alan M, welcome. I try to have a buy it, list it approach, which works reasonably well for larger items I source. The key to this working is not buying more at the weekend than I can list in the week. Yeah, exactly. And as we've all alluded to, when the summer season's on and there's quality stuff available week in, week out in bigger volumes than we could actually list, you kind of feel the need to take advantage of that and squirrel it away for the winter months, for the lean months. But it's a slippery slope. Right, I am way behind in the chat. Apologies, there's been so many good comments and questions coming in. Oh, hi, Phil. Phil's in the chat. We'll have to do this again sometime and have a chat because there's so much good conversation going on. Maggie said, I agree, different tactics for different days. I find having my dinner is the worst listing killer. I can never get anything done after dinner. See, oddly, I sometimes come alive in the evenings and I'll sit there even after Andrew's gone to bed and I could list 10, 20 things just with YouTube on in the background.
I have to have my dinner after I've listed because if I eat the dinner, I just think, right, that's it. I've finished for the day. Just mentally, I don't work after dinner.
I'll quite happily go and work in the evenings, and even if it's just packing.
Yeah, I've always been a night owl anyway. That's when I work best. I don't tend to do a lot in the mornings.
I generally always pack in the evenings. So I can do that when I'm watching a movie or TV program, and it takes, I don't know, about half of the movie. Probably it depends what I'm packing, I guess. But yeah, I can do that. It doesn't feel like I'm working then either because I'm still watching the movie. You know, I'm in the living room packing. It's not too bad. But
yeah,
it does mean I'm working a lot of hours compared to, you know, normal 9 to 5, I suppose. But I don't work constantly throughout the day, so you've got to think about that.
Do you find that you get less stressed? I mean, you know, if I'm doing the packing or doing my listing, I don't feel particularly stressed doing that. But if I'm in a meeting at work that's going not as I would like, then I can get pretty stressed. So I find that it's a lot of hours, but actually it's not making me unhappy doing it.
No, I mean, I used to do a lot of hours when I was programming, a programming job, and yeah, that was really, really stressful, and you know, it got to the point where I really, you know, wanted to change things. So, but now I don't get that same, you know, I'm quite happy doing it. I think it's because I'm doing it all for me, you know, and it's all my own business, and it's all I'm just going to benefit from it, and it means that tomorrow all those packages all ready to go to the post office. You know, I can relax a little bit in the morning, just do some listing. You know.
Yeah, I would Agree. Most of what I do, in fact, 90% of what I do in my business is pretty much stress-free. There's a lot of work and sometimes a lot of hard work, but very little, if any, stress involved. I was trying to think the last time I got stressed, and it was when I was selling on Facebook, because other people are involved, right? And you have to deal with their bullshit, right? But that's the only time I've been vaguely stressed recently.
Yeah. I just don't like people. The anticipation of somebody having to come to pick something up messes with what I'm doing that day. So I think, oh, they're going to turn up at 1 o'clock, so I can't go and sort of list something because I know they're going, you know. And yeah, I like to just sort of know how things are going to sort of pan out throughout the day. I've always been a bit like that.
Yeah, same.
Person turning up at some roughly a certain time, but might not actually turn up then, sort of pushes me all off course with it.
It does me, because my focus, half my brain is thinking someone's coming around soon. Are they? Have they messaged? And I can't focus properly on listing or whatever else I'm supposed to do. Although in saying that, I am going to bring Facebook into my business moving forwards, because the success I had the other week, just clearing a load of stuff, it was, really good result. I just need to streamline the communications bit a bit better, I think. Right, we have chatted for an hour, so I'm just going to put it out there. We will end on a word of wisdom or two. So if you have any, pop them in the chat now. We'll read some of those out before we end. You can theme it on backlog if you like, but they don't have to be, and we'll pick a favorite. There's a question from Neil quickly. When applying for car insurance, what do you say you do for a living?
Secret agent.
Well, I always put retail. I think it's like sales manager or something like that. But I did recently get a quote. I didn't actually end up buying the policy, but it actually said, the first time I've ever seen it was online seller, eBay, Amazon, etc. It's like the thing. But I've never seen it before, and I've never seen it since. When I, the ones I did actually end up buying had the usual sort of salesman thing again. But yeah,
does that mean what we do is now a real job because it's on the list?
I think I took a screenshot of it at the time because I thought I've never seen that before.
Wow. I've always put online retailer, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can put online. I think you just got just retail, is it not? I can't remember.
Or maybe in a drop-down list, if I'm asked to fill in something, I'll put online retailer. We had to fill in something recently. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, right. Words of wisdom are coming in. So what we like to do, if you're new to this, we try and end the stream on a positive note, although this has been a fairly positive conversation, mostly. Tara says, for every failure, there's an alternative course of action. You just have to find it. When you come to a roadblock, take a detour. Okay. Will, don't find customers for your products. Find products for your customers. I've heard that before. That's quite good. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you. He who lists more sells more. Simples. There you go. Nailed it. Porkies is with us. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. It certainly is. Oh, Ross has got a Tolkien one. There is nothing like looking. If you want to find something, you certainly usually find something if you look, but it's not always quite something you were after. Okay. Sounds like me trying to find orders on a Monday. Got one more from Tommy there. You mold to the level of your surroundings. Improve what and who you surround yourself with to ascend to new levels. Wow, it's deep. Well, we're hanging around with each other in here. We're doing the wrong thing.
we are encouraging each other's backlogs.
We are. Yeah. Now, I do agree with the sentiment. I tend to surround myself with people that are on my wavelength, whether that's a good or a bad thing. People that I'm comfortable with, I want to spend time with. And that's my simple rule. Okay, let's pick one. I like Porky's. Keep it simple. Success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out, and that relates to clearing a backlog. All you've got to do is keep listing things one thing at a time. Sounds simple. Okay, right. Well, I think we will wrap up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I enjoyed that. I'm sure there'll be a listing challenge in our future at some point.
Yeah.
We need to get some new faces involved next time, I think. Mix it up a bit as well. So we'll perhaps do one during the summer months, if you're up for it.
Yeah, I could do with another victory.
Well, we'll see. I can't remember what categories we had, but I think I won one of them this time.
I think we need new rules this time. Max
I think the old rules work very well.
Items, I think.
We should carry on with the existing rules that have brought each of us great success.
Unless I get a massive haul of one item, then we can keep with the rule we had.
We are keeping with existing rules. We're having no changes.
We will discuss this off air, but we may be tweaking the rules so Andrew doesn't win again.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, honestly, thank you all so much. That was really enjoyable. Thank you for watching. If you're watching after the fact, drop me a message down below. Let me know about your backlog situation, any tips you might have. Yeah, thanks, Tommy. If you want to take part in the next one, just give me a shout. We'll probably do something during the summer. And thank you all for watching. Good to see you, Al. I will keep in touch. Until next Sunday, I think we'll be live next Sunday. I don't have a guest lined up, but we will be here. And I'll try and put out a video during the week. I've been struggling to get content out. There'll be a picking orders video tomorrow, which will be very similar to the last few weeks. A load of board games from upstairs and some stuff from the shed. Apart from that, I'll try and get something else out. Richard still doesn't have a channel. Andrew is Money Mental. And Derek is Tap Peddler. So go and check out those. Do you have any plans to ever do YouTube, Richard? I know I've asked you before.
Not in the immediate future.
Not in the immediate future. Gotcha. Thank you all again. Take care, everyone at home, and we'll see you next week. It's all right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.